Alright, welcome back. This is part 2 of our force method example problem where we are solving this second degree statically indeterminate problem. In the first video, this is what the work we were left over with. Basically, we did the method of superposition, and then we figured out what yb1 and yc1 were by applying the moment area method to the first case here. So we got yb1 and yc1. In this video, what we want to do is we want to do moment area method on case 2 and case 3 to figure out what all these terms are. And then we're going to be able to solve for by and cy. So first of all, let's do case 2, I guess. When we look at case 2, we have a magnitude of by pressing up on the beam. So that means that the vertical reaction here has to be by pressing down. And then this causes a force couple with that magnitude of by times the distance. So the reaction moment here has to go in the opposite sense. And this is going to be equal to by times 10. So now that we know what the reaction is here, what we want to do is we want to draw a free body diagram just of the left-hand side with a virtual cut infinitesimally close to A. So we get this force here. We have by pressing down. We have that means that we're going to have an internal shear of by pressing up. And then we had this reaction moment on here going, in the other direction. So the reaction moment like that, which was by times 10. And that means that the internal bending moment here, if this is an infinitesimally small distance, these forces don't cause a couple, so just the internal moment here right up against A has to be equal to by times 10. Now if we compare this to our sign convention for positive bending, we have shears that look like that and bending moments that look like this. So it looks like we're going to have negative shear because it's opposite that direction, and then we have positive bending moment. Alright, because it matches the positive sign convention. So let's set up our shear force and bending moment diagrams. So in this first region, we're going to have a shear of negative by, and it won't be interrupted until we hit this point load, and this is going to press us up basically to 0 because we're going to jump by the same magnitude, and then we're going to finish off with no shear for the rest of the free end of the cantilever beam. Alright, so let's label this on. This is negative by, and this distance here was 10, so the area of this rectangle in here is equal to negative by times 10. Now when we look at the bending moment diagram, we're starting with a positive bending moment of by times 10 at point A, so let's draw that on right here. So we get positive by times 10. And then the change in magnitude as we go from this point to this point is the area here. So we're dropping, because it's negative area, we're dropping by that amount, so we go from by 10 basically just down to 0. And then that just carries on as 0 for the rest of the beam. Alright, so the next thing that we do for the moment area method is we actually need this to be, we need to convert this to the m over ei diagram. So we basically just divide every point by e. So we just say that this is by 10 over ei, and this is all 0, so that doesn't matter. So what we're going to do is we're going to apply the second moment area theorem from A to B and then also from A to C. So let's do A to B first. And this is going to give us the tangential deviation of basically the tangent line at B with respect to A. And so because we know that the tangent at A is going to be coming out horizontal because this because the fixed rigid connection, it stays rigid after deflection, basically this is just going to give us the deflection here yb2. So just yb2. And really this is just equal to the area between A and B, which is just a single area, which is this triangle, so we times the x bar. So we get x bar 1 times a1. So when we think about this, the area of this section is just equal to 1/2 base height, and that gives us 1/2. Well, the base is 10 meters, and the height here is by times 10 over ei. So when we multiply these two together, we basically get by times 100 over 2, so by times 50 over ey. And then when we think about what the distance is from point B over to the centroid of this shape, that is going to be x bar, let's just call that x bar b. And so that's going to be 2/3 of the length of this triangle, and 2/3 of 10 is 6.667. So we can plug those guys in, and we're going to find that yb2 is just equal to 333.3 over ei. Alright, now let's do the second moment area theorem again, but from the interval AC. And again, because this the tangent line at point A is horizontal because of that rigid connection, and the tangent line here at point C, when we find the tangential deviation, we're actually finding that distance there, the deflection yc2. So that's equal to yc2. And really, this is just equal to x bar because there's only one single area between these, so we just have x bar times a. So this is x bar 2 really times a1. There's really only one area. If this was like in the previous video, we had a whole bunch of little composite areas, then we have to keep adding them up. But we've only got the one area in here. So really, this just reduces to 833 by over EI. So let's throw a box around these guys because we're going to be coming back to this. These are super important for us. And actually, we have YB2 and YC2. And so you'll notice here that, where were we? Over here, YB2 and YC2. So we've solved for, well, we haven't solved, we figured out what this term is, and we figured out what this term is. And just notice that we have the whole term here, but what the thing that's unknown is this variable by. It's the magnitude of the reaction at B. So now what we want to do is we're going to redo this again, except for case 3, and then we're going to figure out what YB3 and YC3 is, and the unknown in that is going to be the magnitude of this force CY. So let's just quickly rip through this one. We got it right here. The reaction at A, the vertical reaction, is going to be equal to that magnitude CY to get the force balance, and then CY times this distance is going to give us the reaction moment here. Because of that force couple, we need to cancel that out. So this distance, the total distance is 20. Basically, so the couple is going to cause it going that way. So the reaction here is going to be going clockwise, and so this will just be CY times 20. Now when we draw the free body diagram, basically we have CY going down. This is taking a virtual cut just right to the right of point A. We have the internal shear here of CY going up, and then we had that moment. So the applied moment, this is CY times 20. And that means that if this distance is infinitesimally small, then the reaction, or the internal moment here, has to also be CY times 20, positive, right? Because again, positive sign convention, looks like we're getting negative shear to start with, and this matches the positive moment, so we get positive bending moment. All right, so let's set up the shear force diagram, bending moment diagram. So we're starting with a magnitude of, for shear, of negative CY, and that is uninterrupted all the way to the very end. Maybe let's draw that on a nice straight line like that. And so this is our shear force diagram. The magnitude is basically negative CY. And then the area of this, if we just multiply the base times height, basically we get an area of negative, maybe let's label this on as area is equal to negative 20 times CY. All right, in our bending moment diagram now, we figured it starts at a value of positive CY times 20. And over the distance here, it drops linearly by the magnitude here of negative 20 CY, so basically it drops down to 0. And that is exactly what we're expecting. Boom. All right, so that comes down to 0. Then again, we convert this to the M over EI diagram. So we get CY 20 over EI, like that. And then the first thing that we want to do is to find the deflection at point B, is we want to take the second moment area theorem from A to B. And the same thing applies because this is rigid connection, then this tangent is going to be horizontal at A, and then this tangent here, the tangential deviation between those is actually equal to this term that we're looking for, which is YB3. All right, this guy right here. Now to do this, we're going to need all of the areas in here, and actually let's label them on. So we've got a bit of a composite area here where basically we have a rectangle and a triangle, which makes up all of the area of the M over EI diagram between A and B, which I just put this marker line that was right below reaction B there. So to do this, the area of section 1, let's just label this on as A1, is just equal to base times height, right? It's just a rectangle, so the base is 10. The height is, well, if this is a triangle, and this is point B is halfway along, then it's just going to be half the height of this. So we had CY, this will be CY 10 over EI. All right, so base times height, so 10 times CY 10 over EI is just equal to 100 CY over EI. All right, and then area 2, that triangle, this is just equal to 1/2 base height. And if base height is 50 CY over EI, then 1/2 base height is just 50 CY over EI. And when we look at the x bars, basically the distance from point B over to the centroids of these shapes, we're going to be going this way, and we're going to call this basically x bar B. And so we can have x bar 1 is just going to be equal to 5 meters, and x bar 2, that's x bar 1b, and x bar 2b is just going to be equal to 2/3 of that distance, so that's 6.67. Alright, so we can plug this stuff in, so basically we just get this is equal to x bar 1 a1 plus x bar 2 a2. And if we plug all that stuff in, we find that yb3 is equal to 833 cy over ei. And now let's do the exact same thing. We're going to do the second moment area theorem from sections A to C. And with the exact same logic, the tangential deviation, which is what this is kicking out, is equal to the deflection because the tangent of A is horizontal, and then the tangent up here basically is the one that we're finding, and their actual deviation is yc3. So we get that's equal to yc3. We're going to need this area 3 in here. Area 3 is just actually going to be the exact same triangle here, or 1/2 base height if this is our height and our base is 10. So it's just also equal to 50 cy over ei. And then now what we're doing is, in this case, we are using the x bars c, so the distance to these centroids basically from point C. So these guys, we're just going to add on 10 to these values because it's this distance plus the length of this triangle basically. And then this one here is also just going to be 6.67 from the end. So what we do is we can just add these composite shapes up. And then if we just plug and chug, we're going to find that yc3 is equal to 2,666 cy over ei. So let's throw a box around this. This is yc3. And let's throw a box around this. We have yb3 because those are basically the last two things that we were looking for in this expression. We just got yc3 and yb3 just a couple seconds ago, or a couple minutes ago. We got yb2 and yc2, which is yb2 and yc2, and then in the first video we got yb1 and yc1, which is also what we were looking for. So let's throw all of the known values that we have now into this expression. And then you'll notice that in each of these equations, they're all over ei. So what we can do is we can just multiply both sides by ei, or like every term, and just get rid of that. And hopefully now it should be super obvious that we just have two equations and two unknowns. The unknowns is by and cy, and these are the magnitudes of the unknown reaction forces by and cy. So the thing that I like to do is we'll bring this over to the other side. And then now you can either solve with simple substitution, or the reason I brought this over to the other side is just easier to visualize how we can draw the augmented matrix, which we can then solve by just getting into reduced row echelon form, and then that's going to spit out the reactions by and cy as 90.2 kilonewtons and 40.2 kilonewtons respectively. And because these are positive, that means that they are going up, which is the original direction that we assumed them to be. So that's awesome. We just solved the two unknowns that we were carrying through basically the whole force method. This is by and cy, so we got 90.2 and 40.2. So really what we can do is we can go back to the original drawing. Was it this one? No, we got to go a little bit further here. So we had the original problem, and then when we drew it like this, we had by and cy, and that's what we just solved. So this is equal to 90.2 kilonewtons. Kilonewtons going up like that, and then cy is equal to 40.2, not 40.1, 40.2 kilonewtons going up as well. So now the only remaining unknowns are basically just the reactions here at A. So if we do the sum of forces in the y direction, we have 50 going down. This is 100 in total going down, and then we have 90.2 going up and 40.2 going up, which means for that all to net out to 0, then the reaction here at AY, that has to be equal to 19.6 kilonewtons going up, right? Which is 150 minus 90.2 minus 40.2. All right, so then the other thing here, we have AX. If we want, we can draw that on. AX is clearly just going to be equal to 0 because it's the only horizontal force in the whole system. So basically they're all equal to 0. And then the reaction moment AY, let's just draw it on. Let's just pick a direction. Let's just say it's counterclockwise for now, and then let's see what happens. So when we do the sum of moments about point A, then we get this expression, basically all of the counterclockwise moments, which is, why did I label that as AY? This is supposed to be MA. Let's write that as MA. So MA is counterclockwise. The moment caused by BY about point A is counterclockwise. The moment caused by CY about point A is counterclockwise. They're all on the same side of the expression. And then 50 times 5, that's the moment caused by this guy about point A. The distance is 5. And then 100 times 15, well, that's the resultant force of this distributed load is 100 kilonewtons times the distance to where that is 15 meters, right in the middle of the distributed load. So if you just simplify all that, you're going to get that MA is equal to a positive value of 44 kilonewton meters. And that positive indicates that we have correctly assumed that it's going to be going that way. All right, so that's going to wrap up part 2 of this video. Now we've found all the reactions. We found all 3 reactions at A, we found the reaction at B, and we found the reaction at C. Join me in the next video, and hopefully it's not as long. We're just going to draw the shear force diagram and bending moment diagram for this problem to wrap everything up. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Really hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next video.